like that too.
Okay, I hereby call this meeting of Central Florida Facilitators Toastmasters Club
You're going with?
9958 to order.
Oh, you're going to get late. Of course you are.
Thank you all for being here tonight. We appreciate it so very much. Hey folks, if you have phones, are talking out loud, or other electronic devices, please put them in vibrator silent mode now. For our guests, the men's and women's restroom is down the hall. Take a left at the elevator, and then it'll be on your right-hand side. At Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills. This results in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from the shared set of values and goals. Tonight, I have the privilege of being your thought and pledge leader with a thought from the good Stephen Morgan. And it's very appropriate for tonight. It is the ability to take a joke, not make one, that proves you have a sense of humor. Keep that in mind, Jonathan. And please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now it is my privilege to bring up our VPE, Mickey, and I will not butcher your last name. Please welcome Mickey.
Hello everyone and welcome. I am so excited to the thing tonight. We love Jonathan very much, and we are going to love even more to roast him. It will be a fun meeting. Now, we're supposed to read the 3 reasons for why we are called facilitators once a month. But I always take the easy way for me. But I'm going to do it tonight only for the benefit of our guests. We were sponsored by the Central Florida chapter of the American Society of Training and Development, the premier organization of professional facilitators. A good facilitator needs to be a strong communicator and an effective leader, and Toastmasters is all about communication and leadership. To facilitate means to make things easy and possible. And we want to make things easy and possible for you tonight, and fun. Very good. I would like now to welcome our guests, and until they join our club, which I guess is going to happen very soon, they have to stand and say a few words about why they are visiting our club. Cece.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak and to give you the reason why I'm here to visit your club. I find that it is, from all the clubs that I've visited between Maureen and I, and from past experience, I've experienced that this club has been the most fun one that I can actually be engaged in, and especially Jonathan is here, which makes it a little even more fun. And I like it. I like everyone's. I like the energy. I like the personality and the spirit of everyone. So that's what makes me come back. So
Thank you. Maureen, right?
Yeah.
Like to say a few words.
I am very excited, and each week it gets more excited to be here because I'm looking forward to becoming a good speaker. Now I'm not sure how far, but I'm hoping to get real far. And I like the atmosphere here. I enjoy being here with everyone, and I'm going to join today, so I'm going to be a member of this club. And I've only visited one club, and we did it 1 week, and we came here, and as you see, we're back. So thanks for having me.
Mr. Dunn, Senior, I asked your son about your name, and I don't really trust him, so I'm going to go with Mr. Dunn. Would you like to say a few words in the name of both you and your wife, please?
Thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here again this evening. And we're looking forward to the real roasting of our son. And we're just excited to be here. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Now, for the business of the day, I just want to remind you that our International Speech and Table Topics contests are scheduled for February 25th. And Mark is the chairman. Are you going to tell us a few things about it after the meeting? I mean,
It's the educational moment.
oh, you are going to do that? The
Yes.
educational moment?
As soon as you introduce me.
Our auction is scheduled for March 25th, and Gail is the master of organizing this event. Maybe she doesn't know, but that's I told you a few times, and I'm going to keep telling, and I'm going to stay out of it. Thank God, I don't have anything to do with it. I would like to remind you that it's very important to bring your manuals with you and have someone do an evaluation. It helps you make a faster progress to getting an award and to moving to the next stage. And also, I would like to ask you to observe the meeting to vote for the most improved Toastmaster of the week. Criteria is based on thinking, acting, or saying outside one's comfort zone, taking a very challenging project, doing an outstanding functionary role, and of course the use of good grammar and the word of the day. So keep in mind, most improved Toastmaster of the week to vote at the end of the meeting. Now, if I find Mark's introduction, which I thought it was
for the educational.
is for the, okay, got it. Okay. Now, let me welcome to the lectern Mark Lapri for his educational moment.
James, you don't have to worry about telling people to take their phones off vibrate. For some reason, John's hasn't been off vibrate in 2.5 years. Just a quick note that February 25th is our International Speech Contest and Table Topics Contest. And we still have functionary positions that we need filled. So if anybody's interested in being a timer or helping with decorations, drinks, 50-50, decorations again, let me know. Gail, you'll let me know what our budget is?
Sure.
I have 1,800, but I think I might be off a few.
Yeah, a couple of decimals.
Okay, no problem. We're still putting it together, but like Mickey said, I'll be chairing it. And as far as contests go, I am pure when it comes to hosting contests, so this is my pretty in pink moment. And don't be rough on me. And that's it. So now I'll turn it back over to our Toastmaster, Stephen. Oh, I'm going to give it back to Mickey.
Who is thinking in her mind right now that Mr. Bumblebear is not allowed to get food poisoning anymore, ever. because I forgot I have to do this for him tonight. Tonight's Roastmaster has a lot in common with our Roastee tonight. Both of them struggled with bullying as children. Both of them despise authority. Both of them are competitive. Both of them seek accolades. Both of them love having their egos stroked to their proudest best otherwise. Only one of them is on the hot seat tonight. The other gets to stoke the fire. Please welcome our Roastmaster tonight, Advanced Communicator Toastmaster Gold, Stephen Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Vice President Education. Who here has had the opportunity to see a roast done before? Just about everyone? That's good. I don't have to explain too much. The simple fact is somebody is going to get a lot of jabs thrown at them. In good-natured fun, at least ideally. How I know a couple of you have at least been recipients of roast because I've done them. Gail and Toni. Has anyone else had the chance to receive one? We're going to have to do this a bit more often. There is a project in our Advanced Communication Manual Special Occasion Speeches. The third project is the roast. It is a common thing that you'll see if you go to any of the the fall district conferences, because at the lunchtime meeting on Saturday, they roast the past district governor. I need to prepare for that one because I was there when she first started. I'm sure I've got a few things to toss in. I did do that one time before as well with Jim O'Kay. I was the president of the club. He was a member of it at the time, when he was district governor. It was fun to do then. I need to see if I can find videos for those, but someday I dread when it may come my turn. But this time I get to be on this side. Before I jump in too far, the agenda does need a couple of adjustments because our Wizard of Oz never showed up and the supervisor elections never got filled. Is there anyone willing to step into those roles this evening? James, you're already an evaluator. Tim, you haven't got something? Would you be willing to do one of those?
Which are the two, I'm sorry?
Odd counter and vote counter.
Vote counter, I'll do, yeah.
Does anyone do those? The vote counter stuff's over on the table over here. Okay, Gail's grabbing that for you. Is there anyone willing to take on the odd counter role? Capable. Vicki, can you do that along the way? I know. I have to double up somebody. It's really easy to double up that one. And I'm not going to ask the grammarians to double up.
Yeah, because you have that one speech. That's right. Yeah. Tim Chastain.
Toni wants it? All right.
Thank you.
Then we shall introduce the functionaries so that we can get ourselves started with the rest of the fun. Beginning with our grammarian, our roastee decided to jump into the real fun, doing the job he apparently hates the most. Please explain what she'll be doing as grammarian for us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Roastmaster. As a grammarian, I have two basic responsibilities. First is to provide a word of the day to my fellow Toastmasters and guests in order to expand our vocabulary. I have chosen the word of the day, which is fiddlestick. Fiddlestick is a noun. It means anything, a bit. And for my roasters this evening, I'll use my sample sentence. Roasters, I don't care a fiddlestick for what you have to say. Is everyone clear on fiddlestick?
Country of origin, please.
If you have an opportunity to speak, please do your best to use the word. I will keep track of those who use the word of the day, and those who do not use the word of the day will be fined 25 cents. Guests, members who have not yet given their icebreaker speech, you will not be fined. I'm also going to listen for colorful imagery and use of exceptional vocabulary and grammar, and I will suggest improvements in grammar as needed. Thank you, Mr. Roastmaster.
Our timer this evening, Susan Morgan, please explain what you will be doing.
Roastmaster's practice is expressing a thought within a specific time. As timer, I'm responsible for monitoring the time for each speaker in each meeting segment. I will operate these timing lights, indicating to the speaker how long he or she has been speaking. For prepared speeches to qualify for our voting, speakers must speak not less than 30 seconds under their range minimum and no more than 30 seconds over their range maximum. I will turn on the green light at range minimum, the yellow light at mid-range, and the red light at range maximum. For our tabletop topics speakers to qualify, the speakers must speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll turn the green light on at 1 minute, the yellow at 1.5, and the red at 2. For our evaluations to qualify, evaluators must speak a minimum of 1 minute and 30 seconds and a maximum of 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Green light at 2 minutes, yellow light at 2.5 minutes, red light at 3 minutes. And that is what I'll be doing, and that's not fiddlesticks.
I see Toni has already foisted off the job. Since Gloria has come in, she's been graciously volunteered apparently to take on the role of odd counter. So now you get to explain what you'll be doing.
I know you all are familiar with this sound. My job is to keep track of audible clutches such as and double clutches. The repetition of a word while the speaker searches for their next thought. I will also note sentences strung together with bridge words like and or so, and I will sound the buzzer when any of these infractions are heard. The fine for each infraction is 10 cents. Guests and members who have not yet done their icebreaker will not be buzzed or fined, but I will keep track of their infractions. Thank you.
And supervising our elections this evening, our vote counter, Tim and Ricky, please explain what you will be doing.
As vote counter, I will pick up the ballots for the best speaker, best table topic speaker, best evaluator, most improved speaker. I will tally the results for the award presenter at the end of the meeting. I will also pick up comments you might have written for the speakers, and please do write those comments for the speakers, and I'll deliver those comments to the appropriate person, Mr. Toastmaster.
Who's ready for a bit of fun now? You don't have. 6 to 8 minutes now? Toni just found 2 more stories sitting right here.
It's been an exciting meeting.
The more you thought.
And it is at this time I am to introduce our immediate past president. He spent the last calendar year standing up here and has decided to take a role sitting in the back now, but now we're going to make him come back up front so that he can enjoy the fun of being sitting on the hot seats. We're going to see how well done you are by the end of this evening. Now you're finally catching on to what the agenda says. Jonathan, I did ask for a little bit of information, and the information that he did give me, well, aside from his name, which I didn't know the middle name part before.
Changes every week.
Yes, and I did understand. But that's the one he gets to show this evening.
Oh, no.
He did let us know, of course, what his birthday is. He told us that one before. We've heard those. And he first joined here at Central Florida Facilitators back in August of 2012. Now, I imagine those of you who were here that day will remember it because it was the day of the speech contest, our humorous speech contest or evaluation contest. I had to hurry and make sure we actually did a vote at the beginning so we could actually compete because that's what we wanted to go do. And he keeps jumping in every time since. I'm not sure if he learned that from me, but I think he had that already on his own. So he's been around here for a while, as he's told us, and graduated from UCF a little while back. He tries to explain what his degree is. If you can make sense of that, I couldn't. We do know he has got quite an imaginative mind after all. And although he says he's now certified, it means he can deal with professional athletes. The problem is that we've yet to find a professional athlete that will deal with him. Now, of course, the things that he didn't mention, that he didn't provide to me, but we happen to already know, he also has those ex-wives hanging around that place. One of which was at that same meeting he joined.
Oh, God.
And since then, he's told us about the many dates he's had, more than Hugh Hefner, apparently. Who is his idol, that we've understood? Any one of you who have managed to receive an evaluation from Jonathan, what does he call you? What does he say you are when he's giving you an evaluation? Yes, he says you are a rock star, because Jonathan always wants to be a rock star. Here is your opportunity to be a rock star. But wait, there's more. Because a rock star needs the instruments so that he can play. And of course, one thing we need to make sure is that he's heard. Because we never have a difficulty hearing him now, do we?
No, we don't.
There's another thing, of course, about Jonathan we know about it. We heard it mentioned in my own introduction. Although he has his own business, there's a reason he has his own business. I'm sure you've heard a bit about it before. He doesn't like authority figures too much.
Boo.
He apparently associates them with coats and ties. And by the way, in case you didn't notice, he's also rather a technophobe. Doesn't like getting on the computer for anything. So I made sure that we would have a tie available for you. There we go. Whoa, it's going to have to get on. And of course, it's got all the nice little computer guard jargon for you. So that you are ready. Be careful with those instruments. They're for 3 years and up.
This makes it easier. Everybody can see my eyes. Perfect.
Now, we have had many interesting times listening to Jonathan's speeches. And it's always interesting how he loves to pause. Long pauses, as we've known. Certain speeches, of course, stand out fairly prominently. I'm sure you're going to hear about several of them, and perhaps one rather infamous one.
Yes.
Since I do not have to go into the details, those of you who are here remember. You remember the props. You remember the situation he was describing working at the gym the one day. But in case Jonathan had forgotten, we needed to make sure you wouldn't forget. And remember, it goes between your legs. So now that everyone has the picture of Jonathan we've been waiting for. But there are a few other things about Jonathan that I've learned along the way, but more is yet to come. Actually, what I discovered, he loves to see things fly. Where he got this, it started at a very young age. As I heard about this. He actually had a rocket. He had a rocket, he loved playing with the rocket, and he'd take it to the park, loved to shoot it off, and turned out one day he took it to the park, the rocket wasn't working for him. He didn't know why it was, he was frustrated, and so he ended up going back home, dejected a bit. It turned out several minutes later, after he'd gotten back home, his mom hears a scream, an explosion, something happening from upstairs or in his room,
runs in to find his bed is on fire. He had been trying to figure out what had happened to the rocket, and he was testing it. Since he figured it didn't go off at the park, it wouldn't go off at home. And after a bucket of water had gotten tossed on the bed, a very interesting lecture got to ensue. Wait till your father got home. Although by then Jonathan was feeling so bad as it was, apparently the punishment didn't need to be meted out. That's why we're here tonight. Oh, we've got lots of information from several, including from your dog.
Oh, no. That's horrible.
I'm afraid she couldn't be here tonight, but she managed to make sure that we would have something to include. And if in case you missed that, here, we can see it again. Letting everyone get in on the fun.
Oh, man.
It is a shame that Charlie had to back out tonight. He came down with a stomach virus. He and his wife are at home throwing their guts out. And Charlie told me it reminded him of when he first met Jonathan. But alas, those stories, I imagine, are going to have to wait for another time. Not that we haven't heard him rip Jonathan enough just on the regular meetings. Therefore, we are left with our two speakers, including our first roaster this evening. Toni's first impression of John was that he was loud, out of control, and uncoachable. I just roasted Toni a little bit ago, and I was trying to remember to point out that one of the reasons she was glad Jonathan was in the club now was that he was now the loud and obnoxious one. In a moment of reflection, it actually seemed to Toni as if God spoke to her and said, "Make this man your friend, not your enemy." And good luck with that. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Toni Gittles.
John, you came into Central Florida Facilitators confident, cocky, and disruptive. You came into a room where half the people were shy, quiet, introverted people. You came in like the fireworks on the 4th of July. Boom, boom, boom. For some of us, you appeared scary, much too loud, and possibly mentally ill. You formed a friendship with Charlie Bombalier very early on. For several meetings, I observed you sitting together, behaving like children, talking and laughing through the entire meeting. It was all I could do to refrain from taking you both outside the room and spanking you. The last thing we want to do in Toastmasters is suppress your self-expression. However, it was clear someone had to shut down your disruptive behavior. You have been happily spreading rumors now for over 2 years that I almost threw you out of the club. Your version of the story is, of course, funnier than mine, but only proves you weren't quite listening to what I had to say. It seems what you got out of the conversation was I was upset about a speech where you talked about giving CPR to a naked dead man. Let's set the record straight.
He needs CPR.
Let's set the record straight. The speech itself was okay. It was how you told it and the fact that you couldn't stop laughing, a lot like you are now, for 7 minutes, as you talked about a very serious subject. That was inappropriate. What was really bothering me after several weeks of attendance at our club is you continued to be boisterous, loud, and your conversations with Charlie made it utterly difficult for myself and other members of the club to enjoy and benefit from the meeting. I got you in a room. I started with the following. Fiddlesticks, John! Toastmasters is a professional organization. When you walk through that door, you are a professional. You need to act like that, and it's clear. It's clear to me you have tremendous potential as a speaker. You have a lot to offer our club, and you could totally benefit from being a Toastmaster. Most members do not know this, I added, but the reason we voted you into the club was so we could vote you out if we didn't like you later on. I can't vote you out, but I can suggest it to the members. Now, we're not there yet, but we're close. So get your act together now. First rule of public speaking, John, you should know this. Know and respect your audience when you speak. And you clearly don't know us yet. I added, and if you and Charlie can't behave, I'm absolutely going to have to separate the two of you. John was soulfully and shockingly silent. I expected a towering inferno of rage and those firecrackers to let loose. Are we clear? I said. All he said was, I got it. He got up and he walked into the meeting. Hey, the rest is history, baby! One thing I admire about Jonathan is that he understands that people need support, acknowledgement, and compliments. John, by some fluke of nature, we're actually friends. And perhaps you think that gives you a little leeway in insulting me. So here is some friendly advice I urge you to remember. Rule number 1. Never mention a woman's weight or how much weight she has lost. Our culture has damaged our self-image plenty, so this is strictly off limits. Rule number 2. See rule number 1. And if you should fall from grace, totally screw up, and break rule number 1, then at least be absolutely accurate in your facts. You mentioned my name in a fairly kind reference in a speech recently, only to be followed by the comment that I had lost 5 or 6 pounds. Seriously, John, we've been working together 3 months. It was 10 pounds. Get it right. Under the threat of beheading, waterboarding, under all circumstances, no more free passes. You are to follow rule number 1. Rule number 3. Never talk to a woman about her body except to compliment her. Monday in the gym, you complimented me by saying that my body looked so much better since the first day I walked in. Okay, that was nice. You were trying to encourage me, but then you kept talking. You said, when you first started coming here, your stomach stuck out more than your breasts. And you have really big breasts. Okay, you got the point. A little advice. I'm considering buying a gun and getting a concealed weapons permit. So you really need to pay attention here. Rule number 4. You don't have to speak in words everything that you think in your brain. With all due respect, major censoring should start N-O-W exclamation point. Rule number 5, never call an older woman grandma. Especially when preceded by the words, I mean this in the most respectful way possible. Although I'm not the grammarian today, the word grandma should only be spoken by very young children and only to their grandma, preferably using the words nana or mima. Rule number 6 is your rule number 6. Never take yourself too seriously. I come from a family where everything is serious, so it's taken me at least the last 20 years to loosen up. You know, it's good advice with one exception. You should take this roast and the advice in it very seriously. John never has had a problem with self-expression. The good, the bad, and the ugly, he lets it all hang out. We've come to understand through Jonathan what it means to be human. He fully shares the story of his life. He laughs, he's loud, he's hilarious. He's strong, he's wise for his years, he always has a message. He's spiritual, he talks with God, thinking that's perfectly normal, that we do that every day, and he is living his life on purpose. John, one last thing, and Katy Perry said it best. Baby, you're a firework. You let your colors burst. You make us go, ah, ah, ah. You leave us all in ah, ah, ah. Boom, boom, boom. Even brighter than the moon, moon, moon. Mr. Toastmaster.
Yes, Madam Vice President.
I'm afraid that Jonathan's banana is too erect. You should push it down. I'm just worried about the recording.
Did I just hear Mickey say that?
They just wanted to keep it realistic.
Even my speech on sex couldn't pull that one off. Okay. Slide it down a little there, John. Madam Timer, we'll need a minute to recover now.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you all have a few comments you can write down for Toni on her roast.
Watch that tongue again.
Shut up, Ross. Thank you.
Don't catch 50 Shades. It's coming next weekend.
No!
Nice.
This is what happens when you let your kids have phones that can record, right? Did you miss that? Oh, I'm sorry.
I got a better one.
And his son is absolutely amazed.
That's my nephew.
Now remember, Jonathan likes to see things fly. There was another story, and he was 5 years old. Who here, those of you old enough to remember the plastic with the heavy metal tipped lawn darts? I remember those. I love playing with those. You can't get them anymore because they're too dangerous. You toss them up, they come down on your head, they've been known to kill. At 5 years old, he loved playing with the lawn darts. He loved playing with the lawn darts because he'd like to take them outside, throw them up in the air, watch them fly. I kind of think he dropped one of those on his head. But apparently there is no actual evidence of it. But as it turns out, there is, or at least was, evidence that landed on the top of their brand new 1977 Ford station wagon. His dad only heard the thunk, actually, and came out going, "What are you doing?" Because John's over there by the car tossing the lawn darts up, and he's just saying, "I'm watching them fly." He had to actually take out the ladder, climb up to see on top of the car to see the dents that had landed in the middle of the roof. This is why we only let you play with soft things. This is why I didn't give you the fiddle, because the fiddle stick would get you into trouble. And there's plenty of trouble yet to be had. Our second roaster this evening was his fellow competitor at the last contest. Our next speaker has never actually given a roast before. He's eaten many, but never given one. So he is preemptively and proactively claiming ignorance in the likely event that he is going to say something inappropriate. I'll just say he's modeling his ideal here. In preparation for this, Mark has gone over some of Jonathan's speeches, and he's reached the conclusion he just doesn't have material needed to complete a roasting speech. It would be more appropriate to make a mini-series out of all of these gems. Here with his rookie roast, please welcome to the lectern, Mark Lockery.
You're a natural. I ran this speech by a lawyer friend of mine who suggested I read the following disclaimer before. The views and opinions represented during tonight's roast do not necessarily reflect that of Toastmasters. If at any time during the speech I offend any person or group except Jonathan, I express my deepest apologies. I do not take it personally. It is merely an attempt at humor from a very simple man. Now, with that out of the way. 5276308. In the next 5 to 7, possibly 6.5, but less than 8 minutes, I hope to take Jonathan Henrietta Dunn from being a good egg to being a great roasted turkey. Or as Julian Cotto might say, to take this 32-ounce T-bone steak and turn it into a 12-ounce can of Spam. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members, and guests. Toastmasters teaches us to be gifted speakers, to command attention, to enhance the lives of those we speak to. And then there's Jonathan. First of all, Jonathan, kudos to you to sit there and just, with a smile on your face, take the barrage of insults coming from your fellow Toastmasters. At first I wondered, how can he do it? How can he just sit there without getting upset? And then I realized he probably doesn't understand half the jokes that are so hopefully tonight, the jokes are simplistic enough. Now, I've only been a member of this club for a little over a year, so I haven't heard all of Jonathan's speeches. But I have heard many of them. And there is one recurring theme that he says over and over and over again. He keeps referencing the time he gave CPR to a naked man in the shower. As a matter of fact, he has said it so much, I had that image burned in my head. I had to go home and watch a more serene scene from Psycho just to get that image out of my head. He even had James worried. James came up to me last week and said, Mark, every time Jonathan references that speech, he looks at me. I'm afraid he might be gay. I came to your defense though, Jonathan. I said, James, there is no way Jonathan is gay. He has a girlfriend, so at most he's bi. Just listen to the words of the day that you've chosen over the past 2 years. Village. People. Thrive. Bareback Mountain. Toastmasters teaches us that we can take traumatic and tragic childhood events and use them as material for our speeches. And then there's Jonathan. Listening to Jonathan speak, he's had such a traumatic childhood, he should have had his DTM in 2.5 months. There was one traumatic experience that he talked about that really got to me. It was a time when you were a kid waiting to be picked for the kickball team. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You remember being picked last?
Yes.
After the girls?
Yes.
After the last 2 girls?
Yes.
That really struck me. And I learned something about you that day, Jonathan. I learned you must have kicked like a girl. But he overcame that. He grew up and he put his big boy pants on because he was able to laugh at some of the problems life gives us. And after all, laughter is the best medicine. Those who partake in the medicine of laughter become better people. And then there's Jonathan. Who I think must have OD'd on the laughter meds because this guy won't shut up. He's always laughing. I've even came to the conclusion that I can never, ever give a serious speech in this club unless he's absent. Toastmaster teaches us about the power of 3. When you do things in 3s, they become more effective. There's a bigger impact. And then there's Jonathan, who has taken this approach to the umpteenth level, applying that concept not only to his Toastmaster speeches, but to his personal life. Because one ex-wife wasn't good enough. He needed 3 to be effective and have greater impact. He even stopped at 3 Twitter followers. 3. Wow, that's amazing. Toastmasters teaches us to be caring and compassionate to our fellow members when they're up and even when they're down. And then there's Jonathan. I remember recently when I lost at the division I was feeling devastated. And that whole drive back from Jacksonville, all I could think about was walking through that door to my Toastmasters family so they can uplift my spirits and renew my self-confidence. I came through that door a wounded puppy with my tail between my legs. And Jonathan saw me, and he was the first person that came over to me. And he walked up to me, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and with the most caring voice he could think of, he said, "Lockery, you sucked!" Remember that, Mr. in need of sensitivity training? Remember that? But I know he was only kidding because we have that great relationship. As a matter of fact, he has a great relationship with everybody and gets along with everybody in this club. I think the person you get along most with, though, is Toni. Because they say opposites attract. And Toni and Jonathan are polar opposites. Toni is methodical and detail-oriented and meticulous, and Jonathan is bipolar. This is evident by the way he dresses. Sometimes it's Miami Vice and sometimes it's Vanilla Ice. Sometimes Jonathan, jeans and sneakers are okay, but not for 3 months in a row, and definitely not when Charlie's your evaluator. In all honesty, though, I have to say, Jonathan, I've had many friends in this club, and you are truly a friend, because there are times when I don't even feel like coming to Toastmasters, and I walk through that door, and I try to find somebody to give me inspiration and give me guidance to carry on this road to self-improvement. And when I look around, and it seems like I don't see anybody that will do that, I turn to my right, and there's Jonathan. Mr. Toastmaster. I'm not trained in CPR. So.
Remember the tongue, apparently. Madam Timer, 1 minute, and everyone you may give the sheets, provide written feedback on Mark for his roast. What else do you think your daughter had for you?
I mean, I know she has a lot of those ripple bounces. Yeah, that
There it
I
is.
was thinking.
That's it.
Look at the twerking. Miley Cyrus was jealous. She's gonna get coaching.
Calm yourself.
Now that I've had to see this a few times, what I find the funniest part is that the girls in the background are paying absolutely no attention whatsoever. Take a notice. This must mean that this is what he does normally. Now, Jonathan, I know that I had said in the introduction, we do have a lot of things in common, which you may have noticed, I certainly noticed along the lines. Now, I've been in Toastmasters a lot longer than you, which is just simply my opportunity came at a younger age. I learned along the way many things, particularly my need of being validated, especially being competitive and getting into contests. I learned real quick, oh, you get smacked down hard. And it can be frustrating for a while. And I know it was frustrating for Jonathan those many times getting started and getting the contest, feeling good about it, enjoying it, but then not winning. It took many years, mind you, before I finally got to that point of realizing the goal of those contests is to get in there and do the best that I can, be happy with what I did, and grow from it. Because the judges make the strangest decisions sometimes. And I've been on the receiving and the giving end in those cases, where I've seen also in the background where the judges or the officials actually completely screw up the whole process altogether. There was at one point a contest I actually should have ended up placing second. I ended up coming at last when they announced the way they announced things because the officials screwed it up. And it was like, well, I can't do anything about that. I can only do what I can do. Now you've had that opportunity now to hit the district level, get on the big stage. You did it for the evaluation contest. I've done it for table topics in international speech. You've got that second place. I know what that one's like to come oh so close. But how was it?
I mean, anytime my whole childhood I was scared. I lived my life being scared. So anytime I get a chance to go up there and like pile drive through my fear, I know I'm that much closer to where I want to be as a person and not living my life scared anymore. So it was great from that standpoint.
Okay, now what were you really feeling? I know what it's like to want to put out the forward and public face,
Yeah.
but and at times the back it always comes back. Well, you've come a long way.
Well, Toni, you said if you don't win tonight, I'm quitting Toastmasters because I had dominated that much. And knowing what you said about the judges, you know, since I'm around Toni all the time and she's my friend, that was enough for me. It really was. I was not bitter in the least bit, was I?
Not that time.
No.
Not that time.
How far did you come?
Yeah.
Therefore, Having survived, here is a certificate of appreciation, which is this certificate is awarded to Jonathan Dunn to certify his existence and to appreciate his presence at the February 4th, 2015 meeting of Central Florida Facilitators, for otherwise we would have no one to roast. And I know how much you love those certificates.
I do.
Because you post every one of them on Facebook. Thank you for taking your place on the hot seat. My son will like his banana bag.
That makes you second banana, John.
Timer's report.
Madam Timer, can we have a report on the roaster?
Toni's required time was 6 to 8 minutes. She spoke for 8 minutes and 45 seconds, so she did not qualify. Mark, 6 to 8 minutes, and he spoke for 7 minutes and 52 seconds, so he did qualify.
They laugh too much.
You forgot to put that in the script? I forgot that Jonathan was going to laugh.
I forgot. Totally forgot. Can I 7 and 9?
We still have more to our meeting. Now we get to move into table topics. Roasts, if you've never been on the hot seat and roasted by family and friends, then you've not lived. Our table topics master tonight has experienced this hot seat and totally enjoyed the wit and humor that was presented at her 60th birthday. Gail says, put this on your bucket list. Please welcome our table topics master for this evening, Gail Smith, Senior Roastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Stephen Dunn. Roastmaster Stephen Dunn. I think we all enjoyed having our ex-president, our former president, being roasted. Don't you think that was fun?
Yeah.
A first in this club, and I hope, like Stephen said, I hope it continues on an annual basis at least. Tonight we all witnessed a roasting. And believe it or not, I think, in my opinion, this was a great example of a well-done roasting. So during Total Topics tonight, not only am I going to try to highlight why I made that statement, why it was well done, but also to allow those of you who really wanted to be part of roasting Jonathan to have that opportunity. So let's get going. First of all, let me ask our Roastmaster, did you contact our roastee, Jonathan Dunn, to seek permission on any and all topics? Or did you ask him if there were some topics that were off limit? That's a question.
I did ask at last week at the meeting, and he had said everything was up for grabs.
Okay, good. Great example, Stephen, because that is what you want to do when you are a roast master before a roastee, such as Jonathan. With that said, that's seeking permission. You wanted to be part of this roast, and now you have that opportunity. All topics are on the table. Linda Earls, what would you have said to Jonathan in 2 to 3 minutes? Participating in his roast.
I brought notes. I would say that Jonathan is not without favoritism, and I noticed that he had special care for Charlie at all times, and also for Toni, because she managed to have some body parts replaced, and it was just like, that was it. She got fawned over, meeting after meeting. I mean, what does a person have to do to get that kind of special attention from you? I mean, I'm not quite ready for the body replacement things. And I also noticed that Jonathan tended to jack up the details on his stories every time he told them. Did anybody notice this? His fork story. I mean, the next time we heard that, he would have been on safari capturing a rhino with that fork. It got bigger and bigger. And also, we have to mention his bombastic introductions that he writes for himself. That always is something that I would definitely mention in a roast. Because who could write a better introduction for yourself than yourself? But everybody here knows that we write them. It just kind of slid in when he put all kinds of flowery language and changed his middle name every 2 seconds.
Linda, thank you for modeling how to respond to a table topic. So guests, that is what Table Topics is about, but on this night, the theme is around roasting. So Mr. and Mrs. Dunn and Maureen and Cece, would you entertain the idea of participating in a table topic? Think about it. If I give you that opportunity, you can say yay or nay. There's no pressure, but we want you to do it. No pressure.
No.
Linda, thank you also for transitioning into another point about roasting, and that is about the truth. They mention that in a good roast, the roastees, Mark and Toni, are to exaggerate the truth. They touch on the truth, but exaggerate it. Tonight, I heard, I think, a lot of exaggerated truth. But Mr. or Mrs. Dunn, is there anything that was really exaggerated? Or is this all truth? One of you can stand up for 2 to 3 minutes. One to two.
I don't have another story, but everything he said about the rocket going off in his room was true, and the yard dart falling into the car was true. But also, and it's not, that he was a very sweet, shy little boy, believe it or not. He was very shy in school, so it amazes me when I see him out like this, and he's not shy anymore. Because he was more like his mother. I was very quiet, and he has really changed.
Keep me on track, Mr. Roastmaster, for our time. Another part of a good roast usually gets into self-deprecation. But if you are a member of a group, you can actually do a group deprecation, believe it or not. Gloria Esteban, what self-deprecation could you possibly say about yourself if you were being roasted?
Madam Table Topics Master, that is a very good question, and I'm going to refrain from answering it because I still want to talk about Jonathan. Jonathan, I don't know if you knew this or not, because I'm sitting back with your parents, and you know what? I was your first babysitter. And I had shared so much with them about you. So, number one, you cannot hide anything because I've seen it all. Okay? Number two, your secret is still silent with me. You wet the bed till you were 23.
24.
24. And your first date with someone by the name of Pat, if anybody remembers Saturday Night Live. But all in fun, You're a great person. I knew you. I met you in the very beginning. You have really matured and done wonders with your speech and your professional presence. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to see you in full competition, but you know, hats off to you. I felt like Carl Reiner was in this room tonight because he was one of the greats. Madam Tabletop is next.
And I understand I have time for one more. So with that, to again round out a great roast with a subject that is willing to be the butt of all of our jokes, it is also a good thing to allow the person being roasted to have a rebuttal. So Jonathan, in 1 to 2 minutes, you have space on this floor to give a rebuttal.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. A rebuttal, how delightful. As Mark and Toni had the stage today, I don't want to stand up here as the meeting closes out and upstage them. After all the hard work they put in, granted it really wouldn't be that hard to do. I mean, Toni, you haven't beaten me in a contest in 50 speeches in a row. And Mark, you were just tasked with the simple to bring home a trophy to this club. And you chickened out and you couldn't do it. And Mark actually under-exaggerated about what I said to him when he walked in the door because it was far worse than that. If you saw what that guy did that night, it's luckily they didn't take our club and shut it down.
You weren't even there. You
I saw it later on, and that was one of the biggest pieces of garbage I've ever seen. I understand now why you're not competing in this month's contest, because you don't want to go through that again. But I still love you anyways, because you know I love the God stuff, and He loves everyone, so I still love you. And Stephen, I got nothing bad to say about you. We are a lot alike, and I know the pain you must feel inside, since I feel it as well. So great job tonight. Gail, great job on Table Topics. Mom, Dad, thank you for not sharing some of the other stories. Need no exaggeration. And we hope you still want to be a member of our club after this is all over with. That Table Topics.
Thank you, everybody. And now, Susan, can we have a time on all of our topics this evening?
We sure can. Linda just spoke for 1 minute and 31 seconds. Mrs. Dunn, you only spoke for 43 seconds, so you don't qualify for tonight's voting, unfortunately. Gloria, exactly 1 minute, and Jonathan, 1 minute and 41 seconds. So Jonathan and Linda, or Gloria and Linda.
All right, thank you. And now, I relinquish control of this roast right back to our Roastmaster.
The fun that we've had, and the many stages that we've seen John go through in just this short 2.5, not even 2.5 years here. From coming in, looking for that support he needed, finding it, getting married, getting divorced again, going out, dating again, telling us about the many times he only had one date. And yet in this time we've also seen him grow in so many ways. And he finally found his soulmate. We saw that finally happen right here. And she is such a bitch. Or if you hadn't noticed, there is no one else he has shown as much affection for when he's been speaking up here. There is hope for you yet. At this point in time, it is my pleasure to say I am done. I hope that he is quite well done and that you've all enjoyed the roast. At this point, I pass it on to our general evaluator to handle the evaluation section of the meeting. This will be our Vice President of Education, someone who will probably give me an interesting roast one day, although I'll have a few things to say about her along that stretch indeed. Including the one from tonight. This will be fun. Please welcome our Vice President of Education, Mickey Dumatrasky.
Are you enjoying the meeting so far? Yes. Isn't this meeting great? I hope we'll have more, at least half the fun as we had tonight. Now I have to say something about Jonathan.
No.
Oh, yes. Did you vote for the...
No.
the
We
table?
vote for the speaker in tabletop and best speaker.
Best tabletop speaker.
Well, speaker was
Yeah, there was no vote for speaker.
Toni lost again.
Jonathan,
You were a little too far! It was because I had some nice things to say about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it!
Oh, they're over here.
Oh, he's told me now.
You are
Okay, I'm going to continue with my story. As you know, I'm originally from Romania. This is a weird part of the world. And I have to mention that in Romania, you don't say I love you. That's often, almost at all. I mean, it's a big deal when you say I love you. After Jonathan joined the club, he sent me an email and signed Love Jonathan. It is something wrong with him. Because I have mirrors at home, and I know. This cannot be. Luckily, I got back to reality when I was included in a distribution list, and I saw that every time he sent out an email, he signed Love Jonathan. My only problem is not that Jonathan will love me. What if I fall in love with him? What am I going to do then? Being married and so on. Anyway, back to business. After my role tonight is general evaluator. As general evaluator, it is my task to lead the evaluation portion of the meeting. At this time, we look back on our performance and how well we carried out our tasks, remembering throughout that these are our only personal opinions. Our first evaluator tonight is Linda Earth. Linda is looking forward to evaluating Jonathan's speech. She knows
Tony's speech.
Anyway, here it was Charlie, so I put the wrong name anyway. Linda is looking forward to evaluate Tony's speech. I don't think I can read any further, being more related to Charlie. So,
Even more fun.
Well,
I'll introduce myself. I am looking forward to evaluating Toni's speech because I know she will use her close relationship with Jonathan at his expense for our entertainment. Sometimes the end result justifies the means, and the means didn't get too mean because as we know, she has a heart of gold, and she spared unnecessary hurt feelings. Ours, that is, not Jonathan's. And how are you supposed to roast someone who bathes in barbecue sauce by letting himself be filmed dancing and all these other things? I mean, this is a tough, tough thing you did tonight, and I applaud you. And I was glad that I didn't have to, because who is a poor dresser on a regular basis than Jonathan? That would be me. And also, I'm a third wife, so I'm right in the running with everything he talks about. I would not want to, but Toni did an excellent job, and some of the points I wanted to touch on, she used vivid words, and I have to say, things like mentally ill, probably mentally ill, that just kind of made me think, yes. I think she did use some vivid similes, metaphors, all those kind of things that got us thinking, and it never jargon. We understood what she was saying. She was specific, and she also had the strength of voice and presence to all those things that she said nobody else could say as well. I mean, you know, very strong, but then she tempered it when she put her hand on his shoulder. We knew that she was in a good place and good spirit. But she said things in a way not most of us can pull off. You know, that was inappropriate, that kind of thing. The rest is history, baby. Who can say that like Toni says it? Absolutely great. And I enjoyed the way she organized the rules. That was very effective. And it kept us all in it, and it was rolling along, and she did a great job there. I didn't understand if she was accusing Charlie of being a bad influence on John or one or the other, or just the general. She did mention acting like children and all that kind of stuff, so I kind of understood what she was getting at. But they need to be separated. And I thought also when you said, you spelled out now, that was very effective, the N-O-W exclamation point. And again, you kept glancing over at him. You had the strength and presence, but you kept glancing over him with love in your eyes. So we knew it was really a fun thing for you to do. And we all enjoyed it immensely. Thank you.
Our next evaluator tonight is James Riggs. I'm going to say from my heart that I consider he's one of our rock stars. I don't know how much experience he has with Toastmasters, because I think I was taking a break from the club when he joined, but I have to...
He's joined 3 times.
I'm taking a break too. Power 3.
But I think he's very, very skilled and very hardworking, because his speech delivery is perfect. Please help me welcome to the lecture James Riggs to evaluate our second speaker, Mark Lockridge.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and the poor Dunn family. And especially Mark Henrietta Lockery. In your rookie roast of Jonathan Dunn, you did an outstanding job. But I gotta call fiddlesticks on something. You and I talked before the meeting. I knew you were gonna tell him he kicked like a girl. But what about the part when you said if your dog looked like him, you'd shave his butt and walk him backwards? What happened to that? What about the 3 promotions he would need just to be an idiot? What happened to that joke? I didn't take many notes because I sat back there and I peed myself. I'm still a little damp, I'll have you know. but I'm going to address your evaluation nonetheless. They asked how well were the jokes adapted. Phenomenally. You did your homework. It was so fine-tuned to this man. The only question is, after reading all his speeches, do you have to have therapy yourself? Oh my God. How much drama from one man. The next question they ask in your evaluation is, how did the speaker's delivery contribute to the effectiveness of the material? My friend, your timing is impeccable. If you don't have professional training, then it's natural talent. Your delivery was on point every single time. And that flippin' hat didn't hurt. The body language was incredible. The vocal variety was perfect for what you were doing. My comment is exactly what I'm doing. I'd say drop the notes. You're hysterical. It would be even funnier if you had a way to memorize it. But how do you memorize turning a good egg to a roasted turkey or Miami Vice to vanilla ice? Brother, if there's a better way, I don't know it. So Mark, you did an incredible job. You have my highest compliments. And then there's Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Linda and James. Madam Timer, can we have the timer's report for our evaluators?
Linda's time was 3 minutes and 8 seconds, so she qualifies, and James was 2 minutes and 54 seconds, so she qualifies.
Thank you. Please vote for Linda or James. And also, if you could vote for the most improved Toastmaster of the meeting. First of all, I have to thank our evaluators for keeping it in the same spirit with the theme. I enjoyed their evaluations very much because they were so much fun. And I thank the speakers for making us enjoy the meeting. I have special thanks for Stephen, but I will talk about it later. As the general evaluator, speaking about the meeting started in time. The acting president started the meeting on time or not. I don't remember after my first glass of wine. Maybe she did. The meeting was very well organized, and Stephen did a fantastic job. The way he talked about it, the way he explained what's this supposed to be, the way he talked about Jonathan made this meeting a success. So thank you, Stephen. I really meant thanks. More meetings, at least 50% of this one, that would be so wonderful. Now, I would like, if it's possible, to hear our Functionaries report. Gloria, if you'd like to tell us about our Functionaries.
Let's see. Stephen, well, first of all, I'd like to say it was all Jonathan's fault. Okay, so anyone that has any infractions, make Jonathan pay. Stephen, as the Roastmaster, you had 7. Which was kind of tough because you really spoke a lot, and so sometimes it was hard to catch if it was really a double clutch or it was because you were laughing or in between jokes. Jonathan, you had ahs and ums and double clutches while laughing, which I've never seen that happen before. And you also have one while you were twerking. Let's see, Tim, you had 1, Toni 2, Mark 3. Susan, you didn't have anything. I didn't count. Gail, you just had 1. Mickey D, you had 2, and one of those was while you were falling in love with Jonathan. Linda E, you had 5, and I attribute all those to talking about Toni, who was talking about Jonathan, so, just blame it all on him. And James, you had 1. Thank you.
Our grammarian's report, which I bet is very, very short.
I actually got some very colorful usages of grammar. Take, for instance, Toni's. I have seen Jonathan in his jeans dancing. He should be the next Magic Mike. I liked that one a lot. Well done. Linda. I'm a third wife too. I only wish it was Jonathan's third wife. That was a good one. Mark, and I understand why he put this in a speech. When I grow up, I want to be like Jonathan. At least have pecs like him.
Oh,
Stevens, I wish, and more specifically Susan wishes, I had size 13s like Jonathan. Gail, I wish when I was president I had done half the job that Jonathan did. Maybe I would have got reelected. And then, of course, my favorite was James.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
As a law enforcement officer, faced with risking my life, day in and day out, I wish that I had guns.
You love me.
It's your second rebuttal.
Boom.
I cannot believe you succeeded to pay attention considering how busy we kept you tonight.
Vicky, he didn't pay attention.
We don't even remember saying anything.
Laughing so hard he was starved of oxygen.
Now, as your general evaluator tonight, I would like to thank you again for making this meeting so funny, making it a success. And I really hope that our future meetings will be at least in this direction, to make it more fun, warm.
So we'll roast you next week.
I got the impression you got away from Jonathan.
No problem with that. Don't ask me to roast anybody. They will arrest me. Now, as your acting president, I got to the moment to hand out our awards tonight, unless I missed anything.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And scale.
Oh, where's the scale?
They never left the table.
See,
She signed
So
it.
much fun. Nobody forget the business.
no, okay.
I'll give it to
It's
her.
fun
Let's bring it up.
at family reunions and parties and stuff, yeah.
I hope you are going to join the club tonight, because otherwise we are going to keep asking you over and over again about your thoughts about the meeting. Cece, if you'd like to tell us a few words.
Thank you. I really enjoyed tonight, especially tonight. Yeah, first of all, I had a question. Is this part of the process in the manuals?
There is, yes,
Okay,
there is a project.
okay. Great. So that's something to look forward to. I really enjoyed it, but I would not like to be toasted. Those songs. But otherwise, I really did enjoy it. Looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you. Maureen, I hope our jokes tonight didn't scare you.
No, I'm having Not real headache, but you know, you laugh so much you feel it. I didn't pee myself, but
Don't judge me.
I'm practicing.
Like a sponge.
I wish we'd laugh that much at every meeting. We are working on it. Mr. and Mrs. Dunn, how did you enjoy the meeting tonight?
Yes. I enjoyed the meeting immensely. I am so glad I wore my Depends.
I really enjoyed it, and I just have to laugh because my whole life I've told John, you're laughing too loud. And you show how my mothering worked. We'll take it from here.
Do I have to do the schedule?
Yes, we need to know.
Yeah? Okay. Next week is going to be an easy meeting for some and very difficult for others. It is only table topics. We don't have speakers. We have a Toastmaster, Linda Earth. I was thinking to do the same like last year, to have 3 sections. Yes. I don't remember.
Whatever, however Linda wants to do it.
Yes, it's up to you. Last time we did, the theme was the 3 Musketeers, and we had 3 table topic masters, because we didn't want one person to be at the lecture in the entire meeting. And general evaluator is Jonathan. And we will have to work on evaluators and functionary. We don't have.
I have one concern.
Only timer? Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Is there anyone that can be a backup Toastmaster? Because I've been having a lot of traveling and everything. My job hunt is heating up.
Sure, no problem, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Toni, James, we have 2 backups. Okay, word time. I want to hear it. Team just saying a word. With special thank you for tonight. Stephen Morgan.
John's parents for raising.
Thank you.
Most improved award. Stephen Morgan. Best Table Topics Award. Gloria. Best Evaluator, we already know, James Briggs. Best Speaker Award, and Toni, I have to thank you for not qualifying because I didn't know who to vote for. Thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
you made it easy.
You're welcome.
Mark Murray. Now, do you have any announcements, any business? Yes.
I have the bank So almost all of you owe me some money. I will come around.
Oh, two.
Did you didn't have any?
Yes. I have an announcement, actually two. As your treasurer, I will be starting to collect our next 6-month cycle of dues. So heads up, you'll be getting a statement here soon. And then the second thing is, I'll be working with Mickey as the chairman for our upcoming auction on March 25th.
What's the word? What?
Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks. Yes, I'll be working with Mickey.
This is revenge.
And I'll be looking for a food chairman. I will be looking for some folks to help with collecting the money and tallying it up. And I'll be looking for folks to do our 50-50. And of course, we're always looking for everybody to not only participate with regifting items and services, but also to invite all of their friends and family. This is our only fundraiser, and as a nonprofit, all the money goes back toward the club and the education of all of you. I will continue pushing that, but think about how you can help. Thanks.
Any other announcements? Jonathan. Jonathan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were wonderful tonight. I love you.
Hard not to.
Or not to. You're recording. This is bad.